Hey everybody, Animal Man here. Today I just want to show you my new Quail Brooder system that I've developed. And this is based off of the Quail Brooder that I built before. That was kind of a standalone unit that can be moved to wherever. I've taken that to the next level, built it into my shed here, and everything is automated in here. So let me show this to you. So this is roughly about 18 inches by, I'd say probably 40 inches or so. And there's a few key differences between this and the last one. The last one opened from the top, and the height that this has to be at, because it's on top of one of my rabbit hutches, makes it a pain in the butt to get in there from the top. So instead, I've still got the screen for ventilation and for the heat lights, but I've got the front opening access, and also I've got the plexi, that way you can see in without having a tippy toe or stand on a bucket or something to reach in and take a look at the top. So just got a simple latch. This folds down. You can see how I've got the plexi attached on there, and you can access the entire inside through the front. So I've got the 1/4 inch mesh, and you can buy rolls of this at a local hardware store, or I can put a link to that. You can buy rolls of that on Amazon if you want to help support me. And then the droppings and everything else, little bits of food, fall through these trays, and instead of one big tray like I've done before, I find it easier to have two smaller ones. So I've got two smaller trays, and I coat them with liquid rubber called Flex Seal. Again, you can get that at a local hardware store, but I can also put a link in the show description so you can get some of that too. And that's what I've used for all the other quail pans, and the stuff works great. And some of these pans I've had for about a year now using them, and it hasn't worn off or had any leaks, so the stuff works wonderfully. Now also, some other details on the inside, I've got automatic food hoppers. Now these are the ones that you would buy from a local, I got mine at a local feed shop, but you can get them on Amazon. I'll see if I can find some for you that are identical on Amazon if you want them. Those are great for small quantities, but with my birds, I try to hatch 60 eggs at a time, and I'll get 45 or so to hatch out of the 60. If I have 45 chicks in here, the food only lasts for a couple of days, and you have to top it off. So I can't go away for the weekend or anything like that. So what I've concocted here is I have two of them, which is great, but also I've extended them greatly. So what I've done is the little off, kind of clearish, opaque reservoir jar. I've cut it in half, and I've used some sticky back window seal to kind of attach it into this 4-inch PVC pipe. I've cut the slot out, and I've fit it so it has a pretty tight seal. And then the pieces of plexi that I've cut to make these fit, I've cut a strip off the end, about a 2-inch strip. I saved those, and I use those to put here. That way I can tell how full they are without having to look over the top. And I've got a PVC cap, and you can see how it is, and that just keeps any dust or debris out of there or whatever. So I've got two of those set up, and they're just kind of attached with this plastic strapping to these 2x3s on the side. That way that takes a lot of the pressure for the weight off of the mesh. You don't want to put a lot of weight on this mesh here. And then for the heat, I've got two heat lamps, and I have them kind of centered over each half. That way the chicks can decide where they want to be. That's called a heat gradient. We use the term heat gradient with reptiles and amphibian keepers and zoos. I have lots of reptiles here at the house, and when you set up a tank, you put the heat on one side. That gives them cooler areas also, and they will determine how warm they want to be. If they want to warm up, they go underneath the lamp. If they want to cool off, they go more towards a corner. And there's going to be a lot of chicks in here, and they tend to kind of all huddle in a pile, so having two heat lights for the chicks, I think, is an important consideration, especially if you can have a lot of them like I do. A lot of them, I consider 45 chicks a lot. Some people wouldn't. For some, a lot is, hundreds or thousands or whatever. But so that's why I do that. And you can either choose between ceramic heat emitters, which is what is in this one, or an actual heat bulb, which is what is in this one. The great thing about the heat bulbs is that you can see that it's on, that it's working, but also you want the quails to have kind of a day-night photo period. So that is a downside to that. Great thing about ceramic is you can have them on 24 hours a day. They don't give off any light whatsoever. And with the brooder, you do need the heat on 24 hours a day. So I would say the best bet ceramics. You just have to make sure you can feel from here. It doesn't get super hot up top, but you can feel if it's warm, you know they're on. Okay. The other thing here is the automated water. All of my animals have automated water. The reptiles have automatic misting systems, and the water is for my furry animals and birds are all gravity fed. I've got these 5-gallon Homer buckets, and plumbed into it I have this tubing which is for rabbit waterers, and I buy this on Amazon. I'll put a link to that in the description. In the pails, you can plumb them in to a garden hose, or you can plumb them in to the plumbing of your house. And I have a 5-gallon bucket, and I've got a float valve in there. I can't see what the camera's aimed at right now. There is a float valve in there. So I got these cheap float valves. I've been using them for all of my automatic waterers in the house for probably 2 years now. They work great. I'll put a link to those in the show description if you want to get those and make yourself some automatic waterers. They're great. The other part to this is the actual nipples, and these red ones are very, very sensitive, so they're great for small animals like chicks. They're not, that aren't going to chew these like rodents would. So any small chicks, and even my adult birds, I use for my adult birds, because quails aren't the brightest and they're not that strong at pecking like a chicken would be. So these are very sensitive. They peck it very lightly. They don't hurt themselves on it, and they're great for chicks. I also use these for my mice sometimes, but you just have to make sure that they're not chewing on it. Some mice will, some mice won't. And the other feature of this, I have this in its lowest setting. I have this just kind of gently strapped on to this support piece of wood here, and I have it so as the chicks grow, I can just slide this up and the whole unit raises up. So all these will raise up higher for them as they grow. So I'm very, very proud of this. I think it's going to work great. I'm not hatching any chicks right now, but I will be soon, and I'm going to get them all in here and see how they do. I'm positive that this is going to work amazingly for them. And once again, I'll put links in the show notes to the water nipples, the tubing, the flex seal. Try to find one for those feeders, and also the float valve for there, so you guys can try to automate your setup for yourselves. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you haven't, please subscribe to Animal Man Survivor, and we'll see you soon.